Hello everyone, John P.O. here, and this is MAMECADE episode number 27. And we're about to get a little funky and look at some games that took their roller skates to the arcades. So what was this fascination with skating in video games? It turns out game designers will create games out of anything competitive, even roller skating. In 1983, Jaleco released Top Roller. And judging by its flyer, you must be a heavyset fellow that likes to push other skaters into the bushes. Actually, you're trying to complete the course while avoiding obstacles and other skaters that try to take you down. It's an overhead battle of brawn as the enemy skaters attempt to push you off the road or into oncoming vehicles. Bumping them side to side isn't as effective as hitting them on a diagonal. And occasionally, large overhanging clouds obscure your vision, and even bomb-dropping helicopters add to the danger. Personally, I suspect the enemy players are all vampires. Please, take note how they don't cast shadows like you do. Vampiric roller skaters, could they get any creepier? Also in 1983, Japanese manufacturer Kaneko, who is probably best known for their Gals Panic games, which some consider softcore pornography, and DJ Boy, another skating game which would come under fire later in 1989 for perceived racial overtones in the arcade version. The home port versions would later address and alter those offending gameplays. But in 1983, Kaneko released one game and licensed it to two different companies. Williams, who called it Roller Aces, and Taito, who would call it Fighting Roller. The two games are identical in play. The only difference between them is purely cosmetic. In the Taito version, all the players have long, flowing hair and you have a number 1 on your back. The Williams version removed the number on your back and slapped a blue helmet on your head. Safety first. Thanks, Williams. The gameplay is third-person perspective, and you set off to qualify skating the course without hitting any obstacles or falling into any holes in the road. If you can do that, then other skaters enter the game into a racing brawl. You could jump, punch, and put on the brakes, but doing so looks like it must give you a painful wedgie. A year later, in 1984, Nichibutsu would take Kaneko's model and bump up the graphics and gameplay to release Roller Jammer. Almost identical in concept to its predecessor, Roller Jammer was a smoother, more responsive skating game. You still had to qualify in the first round by getting to the end of the course before the timer runs out to begin actually roller jamming with the enemy players. You can punch left and right as well as jump in order to take down your opponents. In 1991, Konami released Roller Games, based on the television series that ran just one season, but it was enough to convince Konami to release a tie-in at the arcades and a home version for the Nintendo NES. Williams also jumped on the bandwagon by creating a Roller Games pinball machine by famed pinball designer Steve Ritchie. The Konami arcade is what roller skating games should be: fast-paced, hard-hitting, roller derby mayhem. The game used the names and digital likenesses of the TV show's personalities, with the T-Birds being the home team heroes and the Violators as the baddies. The object was to pummel and knock down as many of the enemy team before the cycle timer runs out. As the cycles advance, you get to play both the male and female divisions, and it's fairly easy to distinguish your teammates from the enemy by your uniform colors. Try not to get distracted though by the cheerleaders, and back kick, jump, smash, and throw your opponents into the rink wall. Who would have thought that roller skating and video games would have been so perfect for each other?